Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up. Tonight, we gonna light it up. Tonight, we gonna light it up. Just like the sunrise, we gonna light it up. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up. Tonight, we gonna light it up. Tonight, we gonna light it up. Just like the sunrise, we gonna light it up.
Ember.
Oh, Ember.
Miss Ember.
Oh, great, Ember. Tell me what I'm doing.
Hey, Ember. How you doing?
Appreciate you, Ember. Love Ember. She's great.
We will be yelling at Ember.
Bottom of the barrel Ember bullshit.
Oh my God, Ember. Ember. Ember.
Ember.
Ember's.
Ember.
Ember. Ember.
Ember.
Ember.
We love you, Ember.
You rock at that, Ember.
We're neighbors, Ember.
Ember is the queen.
What's up, Ember?
I see you, Ember.
Hey, Ember is hot.
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Well, for those of you watching live, for those of you in the future, hello, future people. Please remember to hit the subscribe button so you can join us when we're live every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, where we do what it says on the label. We learn together live. It's wild. We've been doing this show as of today for 6 months. Granted, we started under a different title, but it's a work in progress. Every weekday, we've been doing a deep dive live every single weekday. I want to take a moment to celebrate that because we see so many channels, great channels, wonderful content, brilliant creators who take 2 weeks, a month, an entire year to produce one deep dive. We do them every day, and we do them live. That's fucking wild. But also, it's another historic anniversary. Some people have asked, Ember, why are you doing a History of Black History Month in the middle of Black History instead of like the first show or the last show? Well, there's a reason for that. It's because this is the 100th anniversary of Black history. It's weird that more people don't know that. I mean, we make a big deal out of centennial celebrations all the time. I mean, the current US administration is so eager to have a milestone celebration, they moved the date the Army was created by like 3 years so they could pretend it was the 250th when it was actually like the 247th, or maybe it was the 246th. It's not important. The point is, these huge milestones like the 100 years mark is a big deal. And incidentally, it's been 50 years since the bicentennial of the United States, 1776. Many of us still have bicentennial quarters. It's also been 50 years since we started calling it Black History Month as a national celebration. We can't really say holiday because it's a whole month. It would be nice though. But today I want to dig into why there even is a Black History Month and what it has meant over the course of the 100 years it's been celebrated. Because this country has struggled with racism. We still are. And the fact that Black history started as a celebration, as a recognized celebration in 1926 is pretty freaking remarkable. So, hooray. Thank you all so much for joining, and thank you all for being here. I realize a lot of people are not interested in this. I lost a lot of subscribers last night when people saw this was the next episode coming up. I can't imagine why. But you know, we do what we can. And I feel like the topic is important. And if people are put off by that, or put off by the fact Black history has been around for 100 years, they probably don't belong on this channel. You know, goodness. All right. Before we really dive into things, I do have some notes, as I always do. And it'll give the stragglers some time to wander in because it's not actually 11 a.m. yet. And people expect the show when it's not important. I tend to go live as soon as the preceding show's credits wrap up. Sometimes it's 10 minutes early. It's fine. So thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for hanging out. We try to have a nice time and do some real learning while we're at it. Now, I mentioned notes. I've got two things. The first is, even though I am very, very poor, I have developed an evil plan. As you know, many of us smaller YouTube creators have a very, very difficult time getting sponsorships because sponsors don't really want to talk to small channels. They want to talk to big channels that can move some big product and whatnot. But based on the program I have with the water company, you know, Epic Water Filters, we'll be seeing an ad from them later because that's what I do here. Based on the system that they use, I've devised a system for something like micro sponsorships. And so I've been extending offers to creators that I know are good people, are broadly speaking GSM positive, to try to promote some of the stuff I've been doing. Now, for anybody who's missed it, a little bit of backstory. In 2024, NASA engineer, researcher Rachel Lenz took a whole bunch of NASA photos and created the pride flag with them for Pride Month, and it was really cool. In 2025, the incoming administration erased it because it was NASA photos on NASA servers, so just he ordered it wiped out. We don't do Pride around here anymore. So this year, for January 20th, I rebuilt it. I tracked down the original images it was made from to the best of my ability. Some of them I had to replace because I couldn't find the originals. And then I upgraded it to the current, more inclusive pride flag. And the internet went fucking wild, which is neat. And people demanded a physical pride flag. And so I produced one. And so far, it's by far the best-selling item in my shop. But people started asking for other pride flags. So I've been producing other pride flags, but the pride flags are a little expensive. You know, your normal pride flag runs you somewhere between $10 and $20. And these, because they're much more detailed, they're not just strips of color, but space photos onto cloth, they're a little bit more expensive. They're around $28, which is a bit much for some people. I understand. I am very poor. And so I devised stickers. I found a way to produce big freaking stickers. These are 5 inches. It's bigger than my hand. It's like this much by this much. They're big stickers. And I was able to get them at $6 each, which, you know, it's not the cheapest sticker in the world, but they're big stickers. And these images have a lot of detail. So it's a way that more people can have these things as physical things. Plus, as stickers, you can stick them on things, which is neat too. So all that is to say, I'm launching a micro sponsorship sort of deal for other creators who want to help promote what I'm trying to do and want to also, you know, maybe help me earn some more money so I can afford food and rent and things. The reason I'm pushing this so hard is because between YouTube and the store, I'm very, very, very close to being able to pay my rent this month. That hasn't happened in 8 months. So I'm really pushing for it. So if you are or know another creator who might be interested in participating in this micro sponsorship program to help build up my store, which they will get paid for, the payment comes from the earnings. That's how I can do it as a very poor person. Have them bug me, because I could really use the help. We could all use the extra legitimacy of having a real sponsorship. Gives the channel, like, it's sort of a win-win thing. Plus they do actually get paid, so you know, that's a plus too. All right, enough blather about that. I want to show you the new thing. Of course, I'm always producing new things, so I actually overproduced. So I want to start with this. Yesterday, Tommy from the Humanity asked for an ally flag. Since there was specifically a request, I decided to work on that next. And so I made an ally flag. And this is a fine ally flag, I suppose. It clearly gets the job done. But I'm not happy with it. I mean, I like it. The top layer is Pluto, the surface of Pluto, because it gives a nice bright red in that one section. The next layer is Jupiter's brown clouds, which are kind of orangish, which is why it's on the orange layer. The next one is a different shot of the surface of Io, Jupiter's volcanic moon. The next one is a comet. I forget which comet off the top of my head, but it had a very bright green trail. The next one is Jupiter again, but near the South Pole where the clouds are blue. And then the bottom one is a Chandra Nebula. And what I did is I just removed the color except in the ally A, so it's the same image all the way across each row. But it didn't do it for me. So I made another one. I made this one, which it's the same image, but I replaced the black and white layers with alternations of deep space and the surface of the sun. You can't get much more bright white and dark black than that. But of course, it's space image, so it's not entirely. But it looks much more like the typical pride flag. But it's a bit much. So I made a third one, which is this one. It's a little bit more subdued. It's a little bit less obviously black and white stripes, but it's still clearly there. This is the surface of Pluto's moon Charon and the surface of Saturn's moon Enceladus. One is very dark and ashy, and the other is very bright white and albedo-y because it's made of ice. And I thought these two moons would make a really good alternation for the black and white pattern, but I can't decide. So if you want to help me decide, I've put all three images together into one like sample image, which I put on the Google Drive. So you can, that should be going through chat now. If you want to have a look at all three close up, one against the other, let me know what you think. I'd like to put one of them out today, but I don't actually have to. No one's putting deadlines on me. But you know, I like to move things along. Oh, Deviant says, can you show them? Oh, okay. And Deviant says, never mind. Yeah, that's why I put the samples out, so you can all see them like together, because there's a lot to take in, and like looking at them one at a time isn't the same as seeing them all together. So I don't know. Clara says, I'm not a fan of the ally flag. It's too busy, but that's a cool version of it. I kind of feel that. I have a slightly different take on the ally flag. A lot of people in the community feel that the ally flag should be the inclusive pride flag. It should be this flag. everyone should use this flag in addition to any sub-identity flags. And if you want to be an ally, you shouldn't try to separate yourself from this community with a separate flag. But by the same token, the exact same argument can be used for anybody who wants their own subdivision flag. So there's pluses and minuses either way. The way I think of it is, if you want your own flag, knock yourself out. No one is going to stop you, you know? But that's just my thinking. As you know, I am actively, aggressively, inclusively minded. That's how I work. So yeah. Oh, goodness. Mark says, it's made of ice. How do we send the rest of them there? For realsies. Oh my goodness. All right, let me see. Any other notes? I do have another flag ready to go, but I don't want to overwhelm y'all with more than one flag a day. So we'll get to that one. Probably Monday. I don't know. No, I know, Sarah. Sarah says it's busy in a design sense. I know. It's 6 stripes, but like the conflict between the color and the background, it just doesn't. I didn't come up with the flag design. I'm just like remaking the existing flags with space. So, you know, maybe a better one will come along. After all, we keep updating the main pride flag. So we'll see. We'll see. All right. So as I said in the beginning, if you're just joining us a little bit later, it's the 100th anniversary of Black History Month. Like this show, it has changed names. It was originally Negro History Week. So it's changed a bit over the years, but it's been a thing since 1926. So we're going to find out a little bit about where it came from, how it do, why it do, all those sorts of things. But first, we really need to take a moment to hydrate. Hey folks, I've been working hard on my health, and so far I've lost over 140 pounds. A huge part of good health is hydration. That's why I'm thrilled to partner with Epic Water Filters. Check this out. Not only can you say goodbye to expensive bottled water, but these filters are made in the US, so no tariffs, and they're made to fit your life. From these lovely pitchers I can fill from, to sink units, to portable filters that fit in your reusable bottle. With Epic, I can refill from nature's water sources and not have to worry about bacteria and whatnot. But also, send back a used filter to be responsibly recycled, and they'll send you a free replacement, saving you and the earth even more. Want to save a ton of money, be healthier, and build a better world? Head to epicwaterfilters.com and enter code EMBER15 at checkout for 15% off. Don't settle for random water. Upgrade to Epic. Hell yeah. There's a coincidence between past Ember and as I am today. It's not important. It's fine. Okay. Lil has awoken from the depths, wherever it is that Lils go to. It's fine. So Lil may drop in a few minutes. Perhaps. I assume since she just got up, she needs coffee and so forth. And, you know, that's a good thing to have, too. But we'll get started. So, origins of Black History Month. So, this is from Osla, which I just found out this past week because, once again, education in the United States is fucking awful, is the association... Shit, let me just go look. It's up here at the top of the page. Association for the Study of African American Life and History. Now, they've changed their name a couple of times over the years too, but it's their thing. They started it, and that's pretty neat. So the story of Black History Month begins in Chicago. Of course it's Chicago. It's always Chicago, isn't it? I had another video set up to go with this, but it got away from me because I schedule these things, at least a week in advance. Oops. But yes, Chicago. I had maps of Chicago. In fact, the cover photo has a map of Chicago, It's not important. Anyway, Chicago, summer of 1915. An alumnus of the University of Chicago with many friends in the city, Carter G. Woodson, traveled from Washington, D.C. to participate in a national celebration of the 50th anniversary of emancipation sponsored by the state of Illinois. Because 1865, you see, which means this is the 150th anniversary of emancipation, which is another thing the United States is strangely not talking about. Weird, isn't it? Thousands of African Americans traveled from across the country to see exhibits highlighting the progress of their people and had made since the destruction of slavery. Well, considering we still do slavery just in a weird pseudo-legal way, I don't know. In any case, awarded a doctorate in Harvard 3 years earlier, Woodson joined the other exhibitors with a Black History display. Now, this is an interesting thing. They're there talking about 50 years since the end of slavery. 20th century, it's only 50 years since the end of slavery. Makes your head spin, doesn't it? But he is one of the very few who has an exhibit about the history of Black history. He has a Black history display. No one else at this thing is doing that. It baffles the mind to mix my metaphors. Holy shit. Despite being held at the Coliseum, the site of the 1912 Republican Convention, an overflow crowd of 6,000 to 12,000 waited outside for their turn to view the exhibits. Inspired by this 3-week celebration, Woodson decided to form an organization to promote the scientific study of Black life and history before leaving town. On September 9th, Woodson met at the Wabash YMCA with A.L. Jackson and 3 others and formed the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, ASNLH, which is the precursor of the modern group. They changed the name when Negro went out of style. He hoped that others would popularize the findings that he and other Black intellectuals would publish in the Journal of Negro History, which he established in 1916. As early as 1920, Woodson urged Black civic organizations to promote the achievements that researchers were uncovering. A graduate of Omega Psi Phi, he urged his fraternity brothers to take up the work. This is coming across as a little bit more of Woodson's bio than the history of the event. But bear with me, it does get there, I promise. In 1924, they responded with the creation of Negro History and Literature Week, which they renamed Negro Achievement Week. How woke. In the 1920s even. But you know, every time someone comes up with a new week or month or whatever type holiday, period, I guess, since it's more than one day, in any case, they always think back to Black history, right? They're like, oh, well, why do we have women's history? Well, we have Black history. We also need women's history. Okay, well, why do we need queer history? Well, we have women's history and we have Black history. We also need queer history because every subgroup of people that's being steamrolled by the whitewashing of I'm mixing all my metaphors today. It's sort of a joke, but not really. Everybody's history is getting smooshed by whiteness, greatness, bestness, Christianness, capitalistness, all of these things. And so every group who's increasingly oppressed needs proportionally increasing representation and awareness so that we don't get forgotten. Their outreach was significant, but Woodson desired greater impact. As he told an audience of Hampton Institute students, I cannot speak today, folks. My English is getting worse, I swear. Quote, we are going back to that beautiful history, and it is going to inspire us to greater achievements. In 1925, he decided that the association had to shoulder the responsibility. Yeah, nobody else was going to do it. He has an association. He needs to do it. Aunt Jer asks, he was in the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Did I say that? Oh my goodness. Omega Okay, yeah, that's what it is. Omega psi, 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 phi. I didn't even, okay. The association had to shoulder the responsibility. Going forward, it would both create and popularize knowledge about the Black past. He sent out a press release announcing Negro History Week in February 1926. Woodson chose February for a few reasons of tradition and reform. It is commonly said that Woodson selected February to encompass the birthdays of two great Americans who played a prominent role in shaping Black history, namely Abraham Lincoln, who notably not Black, and Frederick Douglass, whose birthdays are the 12th and 14th, respectively. Now, minor note on this, Frederick Douglass did not have a birthday. He was born into slavery. His birthday was not recorded. He did not know when his day of birth actually was. So upon gaining his freedom and being an adult and things, like many of us who have to replace missing bits of our own past, he made one up. And he decided, since his mother used to call him her little Valentine, he would pick February 14th. It's kind of sweet, but also kind of horrible because the man didn't know when his birthday was because he was a slave. But he did celebrate it on the 14th. Lincoln, of course, the 12th. So History Week, the 12th through the 19th. Yeah, that's +7. So more importantly, he chose for them more importantly, he chose them for reasons of tradition. Since Lincoln's assassination in 1865, the Black community, along with other Republicans, had been celebrating the fallen president's birthday. Remember, in the early 20th century, the Republicans were the Progressive Party. There's a few things that have changed since all that. It's been a busy century, folks. Since the late 1890s, Black communities across the country had been celebrating Douglas's. Well aware of the pre-existing celebrations, Woodson built Negro History Week around traditional days of commemorating the Black past. He was asking the public to extend their study of Black history, not to create a new tradition. In doing so, he increased his chances for success. And that's sort of what I'm trying to do with these. Like a couple people have mentioned, Embert's Black History Month. There's plenty of Black history to fill the entire month. And that's true, especially if you can include the history of Africa. Holy shit, Africa has a lot of history. But when you phrase it in terms of Black history, weirdly, a whole bunch of people get real scarce. For example, last week we were, Jesus Christ, my scheduling is all messed up in my head. Give me a moment because I'm confusing last week's show with next week's show because again I schedule these out a week at a time. So next Friday, I've got Dr. Jewel Cobb, right? Amazing person. Not only she did good work on cancer research and whatnot, but the fact she was in that position is a story of courage, resilience, intelligence, determination. This woman, she just a little teaser. She was denied post-grad research work at New York University because she was Black. And so she came to New York and she walked in and demanded an interview anyway. They told her no, and she showed up anyway. And when they were talking to her face to face, they could not deny she knew her shit. She forced them to give her the fellowship that she deserved, in spite of the fact that she was Black. That's kind of inspirational to me because it's like when someone discriminates against you because of something completely stupid, rub their face in it. The same way you housebreak a dog. Rub their face in the shit they just dropped on the carpet. And I love that. And that is just the start of her story. But when people see stuff like that, they're like, okay, Jewel Cobb, pushing back against authority. Great, I'm here for it. But as soon as you mention that it was because she was Black, whoop, people take off. even in this woke, progressive, humanist space that we have. It's wild. But details. A Lilith has appeared. Hello.
I literally woke up 12 minutes ago.
It could be worse. Remember right before we started Job and Jugs, the first day Chris took off when he was having burnout, and Ryan decided to do a show on her own channel. And like 2 minutes into the show, she's like, Ember, get in here. So I had like 2 minutes to get ready.
Oh my god. No, I almost never sleep this late, so like I'm still a little like sleepy and trying to wake up a little bit, but I'll get there. So hello everyone.
I get it. I kind of have the opposite problem. I tried so hard to sleep. I even went to sleep early last night, or I tried to. It ended up being midnight before the fucking calisthenics upstairs stopped. And then
Yeah,
we're at it. Like fucking toddlers, there was someone standing right outside my door banging two metal pans together. They happened to both be like soft cat food containers because my roommate likes to feed the cats the squishy cat food at 5:30 a.m. But he was banging the containers together to get the cat food to fall out right outside my door. I could not write this in a script. Like, it's literally someone is banging pans together right outside my door at 5:30 a.m. Fuck.
like my dogs were great, but like I didn't end up actually falling asleep till like 7 this morning. So I was just like, oh holy crap. I'm not used to oversleeping so much because it doesn't matter what time I go to bed. I'm always up by like 8. Like I go to sleep at 7, I wake up at 8 no matter what. So I had a long night. But it was a good night, so I don't.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking of trying to shift my sleeping schedule around because while my housemates are home unpredictably, I mean, there's 3 of them and they all work jobs with very different hours. So sometimes there'll be one is home all day doing a work from home day. Other days, one will leave for work at 10 a.m. and a different one will get home from work at like 1 p.m. But like getting quiet time in the house, I feel like I may have better luck trying to sleep during the day. I don't know.
Yeah, it might happen. At least being up all night, like I got a ton of stuff done that I need to get done. So there's that. But yeah, like sleep schedules are bizarre and strange. Sometimes it does work to just sleep during the day.
I don't know. On the plus side, I mean, I'd miss some of the daytime shows, but I'd be able to do shows like at 2 a.m. and shit when like virtually no one is on, and yet people want things to watch.
Yeah. Oh, that actually gives me an idea. I should totally do that.
It's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know. In any case, I digress. What are your thoughts on? First of all, does it surprise you that Black History Month is 100 years old this year, and that no one is talking about that?
One, not really, because I knew that, but at the same time, it actually no, like neither one of them really surprised me because it's just like, I mean, of course, historian, I learn weird things like this all the time, but it's one of those things that it's just like I've never understood how it's like Black History Month, people like put a stamp on Black History Month and then frankly kind of tend to ignore Black history the rest of the year. It like aggravates the ever-loving crap out of me. So I'm like, no, it needs to be like an every freaking day thing here. So
it's true. That's why a lot of people, like I've heard Mandisa say more than once, you know, make every history.
Yeah. There's I actually saw a clip last night that was just listing off like all the things that we used that were created by by people of color through history, and it was just like there were some things on the list that surprised me, but it's like freaking everything we use, like everything that makes our lives better. It's like, holy crap, that's a lot. And I mean, it still amazes me.
And the inventions are literally it drove me nuts in school. Whenever we did Black History Month units when I was in school, it was always the inventions. And I'm like, right, the inventions are fucking amazing. The inventions are cool. For instance, smallpox vaccine was developed from the smallpox inoculations that we were using during the Revolutionary War. George Washington had to order his troops to receive smallpox inoculations because they didn't want to take it because it was derived from African medicine, because they've had inoculations in Africa for uncountable generations. We don't even know because our history is crap. And like they were like, oh no, it's black people method. And so like this well of anti-vax sentiment we're seeing today, it's the same thing. It's continuation of the same thing. At its very root, it's white people are afraid of black people technology.
Exactly. And even more than like just the inventions, like there is so much like super interesting history there that's just not talked about. Like one thing I am deeply ashamed of is the fact that I didn't that I was aware of it, but I didn't really know what went on with Tulsa in I think it was the 1920s until I was like in college.
The firebombing.
Yeah, thank you. And I was not super aware of that until I went to college, and I'm just like, how did I not know this? And yeah, but there's like there's so much history, and there's so much like fantastic history, and there's so much really cool history from Africa and everything that we just don't learn about, and it drives me nuts that people want to just shove it into 1 month. Like, no, it needs to be all year.
Yeah, it's interesting that the Tulsa Race Massacre, as it's called, there's a bunch of stuff, long videos about. It is on screen. Okay, long, like 20-minute video, an hour video of remembering that on the 100th anniversary, like. But of course, that was in 2021 when we had a sane president. So, it may have had something to do with it.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. But, I mean, it's erased from history. People just do not talk about it. It's, but yeah, it was 1921. The white supremacists were like, we kicked all the black people out of our communities, and so they went and built their own, and now they're succeeding and thriving. We can't have that, so they went in and just killed everybody.
It's a little rage-inducing.
A lot. Very much a lot.
Very.
And it's not the only time, and nor is 1921 the most recent. Like in Philadelphia, in the 80s, my 20th century history is not super great. The federal government bombed a Philadelphia neighborhood, destroyed 100 buildings because fuck black people.
Yeah, I didn't learn about that until about 10 years ago. I was like, this is fairly recent. Like, I deal with fairly recent history. Like, I deal with history in the last 100 years, and I didn't know about this. And I'm like, how did I not know this? And of course, it's just because our education system sucks and tends to completely ignore it.
No. Our education system does suck, but stuff like that was deliberately shoved in the back of the closet.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's just like it's history. There doesn't need to be. Yes, exactly. Like, I mean, it's a historian that drives me crazy. Like, it drives me nuts that there has to be a Black History Month. It needs to be every freaking day. Like, deal with it. If you don't like it, tough crap.
I know. Maybe you should, not have taken a whole bunch of people from the place where they were living and forced them over here for something. I don't know. Maybe I'm silly. Or honestly, we need to do better by all of our citizens. Our entire civilizational structure is built on exploiting people at every fucking level.
Mm-hmm.
Ay. Danielle says Tulsa was a continuation of Red Summer. Just 2 sentence mention in our textbooks here. I had to research it outside of school. Yeah, same. I got one quick mention of it in my AP history class my senior year, and the rest I had to learn myself.
Yeah.
We don't need it. It drives me nuts how United States schools focus so much on United States history that effectively after 1492 the rest of the planet doesn't even exist except World War II, because we were heroes in that one. But whatever. The rest of the planet doesn't. It's so
that's
wild.
even World War II is even glossed over like mad, or at least parts of it are.
Yeah, it's almost like a casually explained video where you're like, in 1492, you're like, all right, now forget everything we said about Europe. We won't be needing them again. And then you skip ahead a few minutes and you're like, oh, hey, remember those Europe guys? We they'll be back for all of 5 seconds. There was a war. We won. And then just move on to the next thing.
I will be right back. I have to take a call really quick. Sorry. I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh my goodness. It's unreal. I mean, ideally, we would be teaching all history together, but the reason it needs to be focused on is because it's been specifically excluded. And it's sort of the same thing at every level. Whether you're talking about women's accomplishments, like still to this day, just a couple of days ago, I was ranting about how when we say the word computer, we're referring to automatic computers who were doing the work that was formerly done by women mathematicians. It was women doing math that men couldn't be bothered to do and often didn't know how to do. Fucking hell. Anyway, yeah, computer used to be a job title. Right. We increase chances of success, blending it in. That's what got me on my original tangent. And of course, people do come here for the tangents because you can talk about things, but you have to do it in the flavor of, hey, here's this weird history nugget. It can't be along the lines of, hey, let's talk about Black history, because then a bunch of people who in every other circumstance are like, I'm down with everybody. I'm cool with everyone. I don't hate anyone. Black rights, trans rights, rights for everybody. But as soon as you say Black history, they get the fuck out of the room. It's wild. It's kind of funny to watch, though. Like I said, anybody who can't handle that, this is not the channel for them. Woodson was up to something more than building on tradition, though. Without saying so, he aimed to reform it from the study of 2 great men to a great race. Though he admired both men, Woodson had never been fond of the celebrations held in their honor. He railed against the ignorant spellbinders who addressed large convivial gatherings and displayed their lack of knowledge about the men and their contributions to history. More importantly, Woodson believed that history was made by the people, not simply or even primarily by great men. And Lincoln, however, had not freed the slaves. The Union Army, including hundreds of thousands of black soldiers and sailors, had done that. Rather than focusing on 2 men, the Black community, he believed, should focus on the countless Black men and women who had contributed to the advance of human civilization. Not just freedom for Black people, but better lives for all of us. We would not be where we are today, not just as a nation, because this nation was built on the back of slavery. It would not be the nation it is without slavery for the first 400 years. But the whole world, everything we have depends on innovations made by Africans or African descended people. And if you, as is often pointed out, if you go back far enough, we're all African descended people. So to shit on African descended people is a pretty dumb thing to do. Say la vie. This I was hoping was a video. It is not. It is a slideshow. Even though it has like a little play bar, it says 1 of 7. So it's like a PDF version of a pamphlet that we can flip through. And it does have some cool stuff, but it's very hard for me to read. I suppose I could zoom in. Nope, that's a search, not a zoom. Never mind.
There is a full screen button.
There is. I wonder. Well, that's not much better.
Oh wait, no, like right in the center at the bottom.
Where'd it go?
There's in the center at the bottom.
Oh, look at that. It's not doing anything though.
Oh, what the crap?
I don't know. I'm not gonna fight with it. It's fine. But yeah, this part covers basically what we just covered. Why February? Because of Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. There's a little bit of a timeline, bunch of cool stuff, and there's more pages to this. If you want to peruse this yourself and maybe have better luck reading it than I did, I will drop the link for that in the chat. This is the whole page, not just the pamphlet, the page that we're looking at right now. It goes on to say, from the beginning, Woodson was overwhelmed by the response to his call. Negro History Week appeared across the country in schools and before the public. The 1920s was a decade of the new Negro, a name given to the post-war generation because of its rising racial pride and consciousness. This, after all, I will insert, is the first generation growing up not directly under the shadow of slavery. Remember, emancipation was only 50 years ago. Their grandparents were slaves. Their parents were, if not born in slavery, were born immediately after the end of slavery. They're the first generation who weren't like right underneath it, you know? So yeah, they're like, we're fucking Americans. We're doing things. So yeah, it's inevitable, in fact, you know? Urbanization and industrialization had brought over 1 million African Americans from the rural South into the big cities of the nation. Now, another caveat, Jim Crow also, I mean, the urbanization gave them a place to go. You're needed in the factories in Detroit, in Philadelphia, in New York, in Maine, and so forth. But they wanted to leave the South already. They could have had jobs there. But the laws that were coming into play, again, 50 years since the end of slavery, right after slavery, Black people had equal rights. Briefly, there were suddenly Black Congress people, Black lawmakers. They're like, fuck. But then the Southern states started passing laws to stop that from happening. They were like, no Black people for us. And as a consequence, it wasn't that they kept the Black people down. They did, but they mostly forced the Black people out to spread across the nation. So they wound up in Chicago and Detroit and Kenesha and all the other places that now have
some of
huge
the coolest
driving
cities. Yeah, some of the coolest cities in the U.S.
And they're doing the same thing again with their repression of women's rights, gay rights, trans rights, and human rights generally. There's a diaspora of people from those regions moving to the places where they're not as oppressed by law. Duh. And even then, there's issues. Folks, not to get on too much of a tangent. I know people come here for the tangents. But here in New York, we have a shield law, right? Like, not only do we guarantee in our state constitution that people have the right to bodily autonomy, including access to medical care, such as abortions or gender care, whatever the case may be, but also there's a shield protecting physicians who provide services that may be outlawed by other states or even the federal government from accessing patient information inside New York. So if you come here from Texas, you can still get an abortion. If you come here from New Hampshire, you can still get gender care. And the prosecutors in those states can't do a damn thing about it. Even though it's enshrined in law that you cannot discriminate in our Constitution, that you cannot discriminate on the basis of sex or gender or anything else, still, our insurance companies here in the state have started no longer providing certain kinds of health care. For example, well, gender care, for one thing. I recently went scrolling through the state-provided healthcare system, healthcare services for poor people. I have poor people insurance because I am very poor. There is no longer any kind of gender care available in New York State, except for psychiatric therapy. And that's a blue state, you know? That's one of the bluer blue states. It's just, nope, no health care for you. Go die. If they die, I suppose. And on that note, I haven't played this in a minute.
I have a problem with this stuff being normalized across the spectrum, and specifically, like, why push this on kids? Why introduce this to kids?
I am a depraved wretch. I am a great sinner. I'm a worm, completely undeserving of any love or any grace. I'm nothing. I'm nothing.
You're incapable of being a good person. You're an evil person. You're a terrible person. At the core fabric of who you are. That's why we need laws. We need laws because we're bad people. All of us are bad people.
You can't spell Pride Month without demon. PRIDEMONTH.
If we don't know who the women are, because there are just people, then we won't be able to pull the women up to equality with men.
We have to try to limit the harm. And that means reducing or keeping down the number of people who transition. And that's for two reasons. One of them is that every one of those people is a person who's been damaged. But the second one is every one of those people is basically, you know, a huge problem to a sane world.
Transgenderism must be eradicated.
The LGBT, transgender, grooming our children's minds is a national security threat. We need to hold people for treason, start having some public hearings, and start executing people.
I will use whatever gives me victory. I don't care about the truth, and I don't care about the law. I care about one thing, the control.
But then they rigged the election, and now we won, so I'm going to be your president.
Then what happened is they rigged the election, and I became president, so that was a good thing.
I agreed with many, many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president, but I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian.
I just want to say I feel good about the Republican Party. I feel good about where we're going as a nation. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes.
It was actually a tremendous blessing to these children for them to be killed and go to heaven and be with God.
We've been hoodwinked. We've been taken in by an ideology crafted by creeps and then pushed on children.
Stop letting people pressure you into thinking.
If they die, they die.
I want to be ignorant, honestly.
Being a Christian doesn't exclude us from experiencing spiritual dryness.
We're bad people. All of us are bad people.
Now, it's disturbing. I know a lot of people are like, Ember, why are you talking about all this unrelated stuff on a Black History episode about Black history? Because it's all the same stuff, right? Like I expect the nationalists, the hate brigade, to say shit about Black people, about women, about trans people, and so forth, because it's all the same hate and all for the same reason, for control. But to see people who are in those groups that have been explicitly identified as targeted for suppression, oppression, and extermination, saying the same things about other identified groups as if they'll be the last one into the gas chamber is fucking wild to me. But it's all the same fight.
Yeah.
That's why there's a brown stripe on this flag, because we're all fighting the same people for the same reason. So we may as well fight together.
Although,
as
it's
a quick reminder, the black stripe is not because of brown and black people. The black stripe is the people we lost to AIDS, because while the Democrats may be useless, the Republicans tried to fucking kill us.
Although,
and let
it's
us never forget that too.
Never, ever, ever, ever. Although, as often as I see that video, I'm still wondering what the hell that one dude's talking about treason. I'm like, what?
Oh, that guy who was running for office? I never really got where he got his argument. Obviously he's got a brain full of something, but he seems to feel that being an LGBT person means you're a traitor to the United States. I guess because it's a Christian nation and being LGBT means you're a traitor against God and therefore a traitor against the country or something. I don't know. The logic doesn't really hold together. What does hold together, though, is super chats. Robin Webster sends us $5. Thank you, Robin. And says, love you, Ember. Rent, help, or hat money. Oh, my goodness. Hat money would be so amazing. But I am much more concerned with paying the rent. So thank you. Oh, goodness. I do want more hats. But, like...
Hats are fantastic.
I like the hats I have. I don't... Oh, go ahead, love.
I was going to say, like, me not sleeping last night, I was reorganizing stuff. I found a hat I had no idea I had.
You found a surprise hat?
Yes, I found a surprise hat. I completely forgot about it.
Yeah, I suppose it's bound to happen. I dropped. Oh, goodness. Well, I was digging out the flags because they're sitting on the side of my desk right now. They were underneath my perky booby, and the booby fell over and got busted. So now I have to brush off my booby. So take good care of your boobies, folks.
Yes, please do.
Yeah,
boobies are good. Everybody loves boobies. Everybody.
It's true. It's true. Oh, fuck's sake. All right, long detours notwithstanding. And here, I'm always worried I don't have enough material for these shows. Silly Ember. Okay, so they expanded the Black middle class and became participants in and consumers of Black literature and culture. And that's the thing that really pissed white people off. They were like, no, the white people or the Black people are supposed to buy the white people's things. You're supposed to make the white people rich. And they're like, no, we're going to make our own music, bestie. And there's so much history about that too. Like oodles of history about Black musicians and the early Black production companies. They started their own production companies because white producers wouldn't give them a fair shake. And like, there's a whole thing, but perhaps another time. Black history clubs sprang up. Teachers demanded materials to instruct their pupils, and progressive whites stepped and endorsed the efforts. Woodson and the association scrambled to meet the demand. They set a theme for the annual celebration and provided study materials, pictures, lessons for teachers, plays for historical performances, and posters of important dates and people. This is why they're called the Greatest Generation. Because with a small group of devoted people, they were able to produce all this stuff in a couple of months for the entire country. Crazy. Provisioned with a steady flow of knowledge, high schools in progressive communities formed Negro history clubs. The sort of thing that Turning Point Turning Point's making their own their push for like inclusion in schools and whatnot. It's basically a Christian nationalist club. Like the immediate kickoff thing was the Gay Straight Alliance clubs that have been forming all over the country. But all the things. They hate all the things. We need to eliminate all other clubs. Like first it's you have to let us in because you're allowing diversity in your schools. So you have to let us in, even though we're explicitly religious. And as soon as they get in, they immediately start, you have to ban all the other clubs because they're against our religion, you know? And that's just Christian nationalism. It's, you have to tolerate us. Okay, now that you tolerate us, you have to get rid of everyone else, you know?
Yeah.
Fuck. Mark says, everybody loves those blue-footed bastards. It's true. I've heard that rumor. Mine Finished Sock says, don't gloss over Black history. Like and share the stream instead. Yeah.
Like and share,
Oh,
always.
goodness. Yeah. Always like and share the stream. Goodness, goodness. Okay, where the hell was I? I lost my spot. I thought I marked my spot, but I must have clicked on the wrong place on the thing when I switched back over. Progressive community, Negro history clubs, right? To serve the desire of history buffs to participate in the re-education of Black folks and the nation, ASNLH formed branches that stretched from coast to coast. This is a very useful thing. You will notice that Black non-believers is doing the same thing today, because while we live in an age of greater interconnectedness than ever, you know, I'm in New York, Lil's in Texas, and we're on the screen at the same damn time. That's pretty cool. But to organize groups of people, in-person meetings are still very, very much called for. And to have in-person meetings, you have to have a local presence. To sway local elections, you have to have a local presence. To run your own candidates, you have to have a local presence. And so Black non-believers is doing this. The free thinkers groups are doing this. Like, you have to do this if you want to make any kind of significant political difference, you know?
Yeah.
Fuck. But yeah, very cool stuff. That they were doing it then and that it's still being done now. Organizing. It's more than just holding meetings and learning about things. I appreciate people coming and learning about things very, very much. It's literally what we do here, but we need to do more than just learn about things, you know? In 1937, at the urging of Marcy McLeod Bethune, my apologies, folks, I cannot pronounce things. I was raised in the United States. Woodson established the Negro History Bulletin, which focused on the annual theme. As Black populations grew, mayors issued Negro History Week proclamations, and in cities like Syracuse, progressive whites joined Negro History Week with National Brotherhood Week, which was already a thing. And maybe we'll dig into that a little later on, maybe another time. It's hard to, I don't know. We'll see. Now, I can't say for sure this is my Syracuse, because remember, the event started in Chicago, and there's another Syracuse just up the road to the north.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't, it could be that Syracuse. I just don't know. So like most ideas that resonate with the spirit of the times, Negro History Week, I should have been doing my tour guide voice this entire time. I'm so bad at my job. Like most ideas that resonate with the spirit of the times, Negro History Week proved to be more dynamic than Woodson or the association could control. By the 1930s, Woodson complained about the intellectual charlatans, Black and white, popping up everywhere seeking to take advantage of the public interest in Black history. Isn't that always how it works, though? Like, whenever people get interested in anything, the pseudoscientists show up. You know, right now, people are interested in Egyptology like crazy. I blame Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz for the 1999 cinematic masterpiece, The Mummy. But whatever the reason, people are into Egypt stuff. And so, ancient aliens, like, it's everywhere. Giorgio doing his thing has become a meme, and many Minuteman has made a point of, like, dunking on it a lot. And you know...
I love Milo.
See where the public interest is, and then they just start talking about it, even when they're full of shit. You know, so in this period, in the intermediate between the wars period, people started to get interested in Black history because of Woodson's movement and other movements like it. Because again, first generation, not directly under the shadow of slavery. Black people were interested. White people were very interested because Jim Crow was coming into stronger and stronger force, and people are like, what's the big deal? You know, it was a fascinating topic, public interest. And so immediately assholes started showing up to just lie about things for profit. Weird how that always happens. Mark says, till we know otherwise, we shall presume that it is our Syracuse. I mean, it could also be like the other Syracuse in the Mediterranean that every other Syracuse is named. Syracuse Prime, but considering this is US stuff, I don't know. It's fine.
That's the same way I am.
What?
That's the same way I am with like towns here. Like, there is a Greenville, Texas, but there's like a Greenville in like every single state. So you say Greenville, like you have to specify what state you're talking about. I think we have a Syracuse here too.
Could be.
So it's like, yeah,
there's
you
quite a
need to
few.
specify.
Yar. Specificity is important, scholarly folks.
Yes.
It happens. It happens. He warned teachers not to invite speakers who had less knowledge than the students themselves. That's a lesson that public schools could still do well with. Holy shit. I'm thinking back not only to several speakers who came to my schools over the years, some of them literally selling MLM stuff. Like, they're just like, hey, I do a thing about I do a presentation about this. Would you like to have an assembly? And they get in there and they'll talk like 5 minutes about the importance of fire safety. And then they'll spend the rest of the presentation trying to sell the kids safety ladders. I'm like, I'm sorry. My allowance is $1 a month. I can't afford your $100 safety ladder.
Oh, gee.
I'll just die in a fire. It's fine. But it also makes me think of, and I realize that public school teachers are tremendously overworked and not given the resources they need. But whatever the cause, it results in situations where you've got teachers talking about subjects they don't know and saying untrue things, which not only teaches students wrong things that will later cause them problems in future classes, but also really just it blows fuses for the autistic kids who already know that's wrong. You know?
Yeah.
Like, for instance, I may have mentioned before, because we've been doing the show for 6 fucking months, and I've mentioned a lot of things before in our random interactions and interludes and things, but I got into a battle, shall we say. It wasn't really a fight. It was an argument with my 2nd grade teacher, because she was trying to teach the class that you could not subtract 5 from 3 because 5 is bigger than 3. You can only subtract 3 from 5. And my tism lit up, and I'm like, that's not true because negative numbers exist. And she's like, no, you can't. You can't do it. 5 is bigger than 3. You can't do it. And this went on for minutes. And finally she sent me to the office because she was wrong, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that, and then the thing that also infuriates me is people that are public school teachers that purposely don't teach shit because of their like religious doctrine. Like, it drives me crazy. Like, I wasn't in public school during biology, but I have friends of mine who are like, it was like evolution was completely glossed over. Like, it was like evolution's a thing, but intelligent design is probably what actually happened. And it's like, what the hell? And this was like well, it was public school in Texas, so go figure, but
we're still seeing documentaries about that kind of thing happening today. You know, like, well, the curriculum says I have to teach you evolution, but the real truth is this thing that we've known for over 100 years is absolute bullshit. You know?
Yeah.
And you don't even need it to be religious, like whatever your religion.
Yeah.
It's so and to illustrate how crazy it is, while they will often say something like, 60% of Americans are Christian. That may be true demographically speaking, But a very tiny percentage of Christians are creationist. Most Christians accept science and aren't trying to push science out of classrooms. They're trying to like steal the voice of a much larger majority to push something that majority does not want. But it's us with an agenda, you see.
Of course. Yeah. We just want science. We want science taught properly. That's a agenda. Or history taught properly. And that's an agenda.
Yeah, telling the truth is an agenda. It's true. Increasingly, publishing houses that had previously ignored Black topics and authors rushed to put books on the market and in the schools. Instant experts appeared everywhere, and non-scholarly works appeared from mushroom presses. Do you know what that term means, Lil? I don't, and I would like to. It sounds interesting.
I have no idea.
All right, let's Google it. Let's find out. We're learning together live, folks. Google
Were
says...
they printed on mushrooms?
Let me remove the period and see if that helps. Oh, it's giving me...
Okay.
It's to try to sell me things. Oh, goodness. All right, let's try. What were mushroom presses?
Try academic or something.
In printing, I guess. Well, this talks about Negro History Week.
Wait.
Well, this appears when you see when you're Googling something.
Yeah.
See, look, it says instant experts appeared everywhere and non-scholarly works appeared from mushroom presses. It's just a copy and paste of this website. It won't tell us what the thing is. It's just a copy of what we're already looking at. Let's see. Mushroom presses in America, nothing popular escapes either commercialization or eventual trivialization. Okay, this appears to be more because it mentions Woodson again. I wonder.
Oh, well,
this is another copy.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, people are. Plagiarism is rampant.
Oh yeah, people are lazy as fuck on the internet. In fact, this may be exactly what he was talking about. It may be the phenomenon he's talking about is people do not want to research. They will just copy what someone else said, like literally Control A, Control C, not even reword it, and then repost it as if it's their own article.
If that's the case, that actually totally makes sense because mushrooms just kind of pop up from
that may be the thing, right? It's like people taking like someone else's research and then like badly rewording it, and it just the bullshit's popping up everywhere.
Yeah, I have no idea if that's correct, but that would make total sense if it was.
Okay, I dare say we may not be completely there, but we've deduced the essence of it.
That's what we do sometimes.
Hell yeah. That's working scholarship, folks. I mean, we could do more research on it, and maybe we will, but it's just a thing I'm curious about. It's not the main subject of the show. In America, nothing popular. That's the rest of the sentence. In America, nothing popular escapes either commercialization or eventual trivialization. And so Woodson, the constant reformer, had his hands full in promoting celebrations worthy of the people who had made the history. It's kind of important, I dare say. Well before his death, in 1950, Woodson believed the weekly celebrations, not the study or celebrations of Black history, would eventually come to an end. Woodson never viewed Black history as a one-week affair. He pressed for schools to use Negro History Week to demonstrate what students learned all year. In the same vein, he established a Black Studies extension program to reach adults throughout the year. It was in this sense that Blacks would learn of their past on a daily basis, that he looked forward to the time when an annual celebration would no longer be necessary. Generations before Morgan Freeman and other advocates of all year commemorations, Woodson believed that Black history was too important to America and to the world to be crammed into a limited time frame. He spoke of a shift from Negro History Week to Negro History Year. And here we are, 100 years later. It's grown to a month, at least. And people are more broadly aware of it being a thing we need to look at and know about all year. We're almost through. This is just Woodson's history. There's so much Black history about Black History Month. Maybe, folks, do I do too deep on these dives? Do I go?
No.
I realize I'm prone to tangents and things, and that detracts a little bit from the time we have in an episode. But do I go too deep? Like, should I have a more broad overview so we'd have time to cover things like how Black History Month has changed over the years, and not just like, I realize Woodson himself deserves his own episode because this man did a lot, but there's more to it than just what he did, you know? Oh, goodness. Never enough time, folks.
I think the tangents are partly responsible for that.
Only partly. Only partly.
Only partly.
Let's be honest. People come here for the tangents.
Yes, we do.
You can learn things on, actually, I can't even say that anymore. I was going to say you can learn things on any channel. But the thing of it is, the things that we learn here, we're doing here because I can't find the answers that I'm finding elsewhere, you know? Like, as I mentioned at the top of the show, it's the 100th anniversary of Black History Month, and no one is talking about that. When I try to search for background information, I often like to have at least a couple of short videos to so I don't have to talk the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I could take breaks and let a video play and then respond to it, but I couldn't find a video longer. Most of them are under a minute, and those that aren't are 2 to 5 minutes. Like, no one has done an in-depth exploration on the history of Black History Month. It's just, I'm the opposite of a mushroom press. I look for where people aren't popping up topics, and I go explore those dark corners, which is great for my personal curiosity, but terrible for my brand because I'm answering questions no one cares about.
But here's a cool, well, no, I wouldn't say no one cares about, but it's like a lot of times it's questions that people just don't necessarily think to ask, but they're like super interesting.
Sometimes it's very hit or miss. So there's other factors. I realize I am a controversial person in and of myself. There are a lot of people who don't want to associate with me. I'm too loud. I'm too opinionated. I'm complicated. I come with a lot of baggage. There's a bunch of big names on the YouTubeverse who very much do not like me. And so I don't get invited a lot of places, and a lot of people prefer not to associate for their own personal brand reasons and other things.
I do not know why.
You were fantastic. That, in early December, when we'd only been doing the show, 3-4 months, we were in the hundreds of views while we were live. The show was growing and it was doing pretty well. Then the drama thing happened with that cult of conspiracy theorists who sent death threats to a bunch of minority people, those guys. And I don't know if it's drama from that, even though I did my best to keep the drama out of the show because I don't want to do the drama. Maybe it's because I had to postpone that one day because we were getting a torrent of death threats and it borked the algorithm. I don't know what the reason is, but since that one day we postponed, I struggled to break 100 views. There's been one day since that we were in the hundreds of views again, and it was the day after Dr. Kip was on, and then it just didn't happen again. I don't know why or what, or if I pissed off the algorithm gods or what the deal is, but it's an oof. So maybe all of that to say, maybe it's just me. If literally anyone else were talking about this stuff, there'd be thousands of people in the audience. And that would be cool because then people would be learning things. But the thing of it is, the reason I'm doing this is because no one else is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, which is just like I love it. It's amazing. That's why I'm here all the time. It's fun. It's amazing, and I love learning stuff. Who doesn't like learning stuff? Well, I can think of some people who don't, but
yeah, it's
yeah,
you know,
it's awesome.
we're doing our best, folks. We're struggling uphill against multiple factors, but we're doing our best, and we're trying to have a good time with it, and hopefully, despite my occasional grumping, you're having a good time too. Oh my goodness.
There's a reason
Ira raises a good point. Every streamer mentions that their numbers are down recently, and that's true. There's a couple of valid reasons that have nothing to do with anything else. The first is that January is historically YouTube's low point for the year. We don't know why. There's literally nothing going on. You can't go outside. The weather is horrible. There's no major holidays, but January and February are just for YouTube. At the time when you would expect more people than ever would be watching YouTube. I don't know, but it's bad for everybody across the board, and that's fine. The other is that YouTube recently instituted a new ad blocker thing that doesn't actually stop the ad blocker, but anybody who's watching a stream using an ad blocker, it will no longer count that view. YouTube still gets paid for playing ads to that person, but the creator won't get paid for that view. It doesn't get counted in the numbers. So fuck.
That was a really crappy thing they did.
Had a big hit on people's view counts as well, because it varies from creator to creator, of course, but it seems to be most of us are looking at somewhere between a 20 to 40% loss in viewership just from the change in the ad blocker thing. It's not that there's fewer viewers, it's that they're not getting counted.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I mean, I've even seen complaints about that on like really big channels too, that they're like, and it was like, that was like so crappy that YouTube did that. It really was.
You know, okay, we complain a lot about stuff YouTube does, like changes to the live chat, but here's the thing. The live chat itself was a change. It didn't used to be here, you know? Yeah, they tinker with it. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse, but the fact we have it is itself a change. Creators being monetized. We hate it when they make crazy bullshit changes to it that are bad for the creators, and that's valid criticism, but also I've been around long enough. I remember when the creators were trying to like semi-unionize to get YouTube to pay us at all, you know? I was an active creator. What was it, like 12, 13, 14, maybe even 15 years ago when the PewDiePie adpocalypse happened? Because my first channel had just met the qualifications for monetization. The PewDiePie thing happened, and to deal with PewDiePie, the at the time largest creator on the platform, doing Nazi shit, they didn't do anything about PewDiePie. They raised the monetization criteria for everybody else. They made it harder to become monetized, to somehow promise to the advertisers that a PewDiePie thing wouldn't happen again. They don't always make great decisions, but the fact that we're here, we're able to monetize, we have live chats, we can do live streams to our heart's content. It was not that long ago that you could only do 1 hour stream a day. That was your limit. Now we can just be on, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying, you know, YouTube is good, guys, not by a long shot, but also a lot of the changes we complain about are bad, but there are good changes too. And it's important to keep that in perspective, because the good changes are the reason we can be here, you know? I suppose.
It's a mixed bag. For sure.
Everything has pluses and minuses. I know every time I try to do a balanced take on something and be like, well, hold on, the bad stuff is legitimate, but there is good stuff too, I piss someone off. You're trying to both sides, remember? Tommy sold. He remembers when YouTube videos couldn't be longer than 10 minutes.
I came across a YouTube video that was 19 years old, and I know YouTube has been around longer than that, but it still kind of made my jaw drop a little bit. I'm just like, oh my god, I'm old. Because I remember when YouTube started.
Yeah, my goodness. JJ says if you succeed, you will gain the tools necessary to succeed. It's sort of like a video game where you defeat the final boss and unlock a weapon. Like, thanks, but I
Yeah.
don't need it now because I beat the game.
Mhm.
It
It's
would have
just
been
make you play
useful
through it
5
again.
minutes ago.
Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay. All right, before we run out of time, let's finish our Dr. Woodson's story for today. And we are close, folks. We're getting there. Okay. Where the hell was I? Let's just pick it up with the 1940s. In the 1940s, efforts began slowly within the Black community to expand the study of Black history in the schools and Black history celebrations. God damn it, Ember. And Black history celebrations before the public. I'm never going to be able to cut this into like a playable segment that nope. In the South, not a chance. In the South, Black teachers often taught Negro history as a supplement to United States history, as a separate topic. One early beneficiary of the movement reported that his teacher would hide Woodson's textbook beneath his desk to avoid drawing the wrath of the principal. You have to hide the history books from the principal. But equality, baby. There's no more racism. We're done with that. During the civil rights movement in the South, the freedom schools incorporated Black history into the curriculum to advance social change. Notice that this was the era when suddenly private schools started becoming a thing, when suddenly charter schools were on the radar, when suddenly everyone started launching homeschooling programs, and everyone started complaining about progressivism and justice and everything that we now call woke. There is a reason. It's this reason. It's because there were civil rights and progressive education, more inclusive education. And the white people started losing their shit over it. The Negro history movement was, and literally, we're still using the same slogans, right? Like it's the whole don't shove it in our faces thing. You can have your Black freedom and your Black history, but don't shove it in my child's face. It's exactly the same slogan. Who the fuck is shoving gay people and trans people or women being allowed to vote in anyone's face? We're just over here existing, and they're like, don't shove it in my face. It's because there isn't a reason for that. They're just copy and pasting complaints from previous movements. And to them, having their child taught that Black people were ever anything other than slaves was shoving untrue political agendas in their child's face. You know?
Projection. It's always projection.
The Negro history movement was an intellectual insurgency that was part of every larger effort to transform race relations. I really like that term, intellectual insurgency. We're taking over a vast bitches. The 1960s had a dramatic effect on the study and celebration of Black history. Before the decade was over, Negro History Week would be well on its way to becoming Black History Month, which happened in 1976, the 50th anniversary of the event. President Ford, I think, did a declaration. He's like, we're doing Black History Month, and it's been a thing ever since. So hooray, at least till this year. But the current administration is pretending there are no holidays other than the current president's birthday. But never mind that. we're not paying attention to that guy anymore. The shift to a month-long celebration began even before Dr. Woodson's death. As early as the 1940s, Blacks in West Virginia, a state where Woodson often spoke, began to celebrate February as Negro History Month. I'm a little bit tickled about that, considering what we learned about February earlier this week. But never mind that. In Chicago, a now forgotten cultural activist, Frederick H. Hammurabi, started celebrating Negro History Month in the mid-1960s. Having taken an African name in the 1930s, Hammurabi used his cultural center. Now, you may be thinking, Hammurabi, that's a Persian name. Yes. In the 1960s, this is a cool thing. As you get older, you start to accrue more history knowledge simply by having lived through it. Now, I know many of you are saying you weren't around in the 1960s, Ember. I don't have to be. In the early 1980s, we still considered the Middle East to be part of Africa. We call it Asia Minor now, and the Greeks called it Asia Minor in the past, and so everyone assumes it's been known to be part of Asia forever. But actually, Greek Asia Minor refers to the Anatolian Peninsula, specifically Turkey, modern-day Turkey. The Middle East was, for a long period, considered a piece of Africa the same way Greenland is considered a piece of North America. It's semi-broken off, but also kind of attached, So there's that. So Hammurabi in the 1960s would have been considered an African name because for some reason we thought Persia was part of Africa. But okay. So he used his cultural center, the House of Knowledge, to fuse African consciousness with the study of the Black past. By the late 1960s, as young Blacks on college campuses became increasingly conscious of links with Africa, shock and surprise, there were things in Africa before slavery. What? Black History Month replaced Negro History Week at a quickening pace. Within the association, younger intellectuals, part of this awakening, prodded Woodson's organization to change with the times. See, it was already getting behind the wave of history. The young people were coming along and being, hey, poke, poke, catch up. The organization that led the charge, that started this tidal wave in motion, was now being dragged along to keep up by the younger generations. And in a way, I kind of love to see that.
Yeah.
And they succeeded. In 1976, 50 years after the first celebration, the association used its influence to institutionalize the shifts from a week to a month and from Negro history to Black history. Since the mid-1970s, every American president, Democrat and Republican, has issued proclamations endorsing the association's annual theme. And that's sort of important because it's not just saying we're celebrating Black history this month. It's pointing out the association specifically and saying their theme is our theme. And that's pretty fucking cool too. And as AJ points out, well, until 2025. The current president did actually do a small Black History Month event wherein he had a few, like all 5 of the Black Trump supporters, all 5 of them together in a room to talk about how he's super pro-African and nobody's ever done more than him for African Americans. And in terms of, body count, that's true. Yes. What Carter G. Woodson would say about the continued celebrations is unknown because he's dead. But he would smile on all honest efforts to make Black history a field of serious study and provide the public with thoughtful celebrations. And honestly, that's my favorite fucking thing. It really is. I love learning. I love intellectual pursuits. I love study, whether silly or serious, learning new things. It's literally what we do here. But let us not forget the celebrations. Because knowing things, learning things, advancing culture, even building up our own station in life is all fucking wonderful, but we must not forget to live. That's what the celebrations are for.
Yeah.
So hell yeah. We did a thing. We did a thing.
It
was mostly Dr. Woodson, there's so much more to the history of Black history. There really, really is. I mean, we're talking decades of things happening and cool speakers and and counter resistance movements and intellectual progress. And I want to hear more about the damn plays. But we finished a thing successfully.
We finished it. we have managed to do that a couple times at least.
I know. I need like a celebration thing for when we manage it.
Oh no. We're gonna have one on Monday.
I don't know. I need a proper thing for it. What the hell are we doing on Monday? Am I missing something?
I don't know.
Oh, we're doing.
I was
right,
about to say,
Job and Jugs is going to be interesting.
Oh,
goodness. Yeah. Anyway, over here on Monday, we're doing Aquinas and his arguments, because that came up a couple of weeks ago, and as I've mentioned, I scheduled these a couple of weeks ahead of time. So we're starting the week off with Aquinas on Learn Together Live. That should be interesting and fun and things. Yeah,
the one that I'm goodies. Yeah, the one I'm really looking forward to is the one on Thursday, which is puppies.
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 Yes, famous doggos and things. Nothing but dog. That's Laika, the space dog on the cover. But there's so many famous doggos, and we're gonna dig into that a little bit. It'll be pretty neat. But there is lots of other goodies coming up. Sunday, I'm going to be over on Skeptic Haven with Justin from, is it this Justin or Just in Time? I'm always forgetting. And my apologies, Yahooligan, if you're watching this. But Justin and I will be doing the thing. We're convicting God. I found out recently that God actually has been convicted in a real court of law. Maybe that'll come up. It's a fun story. But yeah, if you want to, argue for leniency in God's sentencing, I suppose, then give us a call over there on Skeptic Haven. That's Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Saturday, debate review. Mark will be joining me over here this week. We alternate every other week. I think we're on like part 3 of Alex O'Connor versus Francis Collins. So I hope we'll wrap that up. But it's been an interesting conversation so far, and there's a lot more to dig into. And of course, later tonight, Bible study with Dr. Ben, 8 p.m. Eastern. That show will run. It's women's Bible study. We're studying a Bible study program for women to tell women you suck and obey men. But there's not much Bible in it, so we're studying the Bible study itself, and it's kind of fun. We're on week 5. We're halfway through. But that's okay, because it kind of repeats itself. That lasts we aim for 90 minutes, and then we immediately go over to Dr. Ben's for trivia night to like cleanse our palates from all that nonsense. So bunch of great stuff coming up. I hope you join us. I hope you subscribe. Bill, you've got, is it Politicality on Sunday this week?
Yes, it's Politicality. And I may have some other stuff coming up next week. So it should be fun.
Stay tuned for more goodies and things. And yeah, thank you all so much for joining. And I mean, I often say it. Having you folks here live is why we do these live. I could fully produce a thing and pre-record and all that stuff, but I love the interactions. Even when I don't always get to keep up with the chat and whatnot, it's my favorite fucking thing. So thank you all so much for joining. And we'll see you again in a few hours, honestly, but very, very soon. Thank you, Andrew, for the links. Remember, subscribe at Lil of All Trades. Lil's got cool stuff going on as well. And as always, remember, you don't have to blow up entire cities and wipe out minority groups. In fact, you don't even need to send hate to minority groups, because you are better than any kind of cult, including, but not limited to, religion. Mwah. Thanks to all our patrons and top-level members for January. Miranda, Karen Butcher, Jessica the Transmetal Alchemist, Robin Webster, Maya Adkison, Jimmy Tux, Ian Chen, Lilith, Ember Lynn, The Barely Bearable Atheist, Eric Wander, Jason Jacoby, Lil of All Trades, Deviant Outcast, Secular Feelinist, Kelly King, the Detroit Atheist Queen, Geo Sam, Thriver Scapegoat, The Godless Engineer, Why Because Weed Bro, and Katie Bluebird. And you can add your name here next month by signing up at patreon.com/betterthanember or by joining Emberships here on YouTube at the Cinder level, which also includes all the custom emojis, tons of member-exclusive content, member-only live streams, and a bunch of other stuff. I deeply appreciate all the supporters who keep this channel going. Thank you so much. Because of you, we're building a wonderful community that I'm very proud of.
Just like a spark that's breaking out, can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt.